Things have gotten messy.
You were just like them. They won, Thomas.
I want to
is about a son who betrayed his father and had an illicit affair with his alluring mistress, even after knowing the damage it would cause. And all of this is from a 2017 film called The Only Living Boy in New York. Just after Thomas Webb finished college, he was confused about what he was going to do with his life, and although he had a passion for being an artist like his father, Ethan Webb, who was an art collector with a publishing house, he didn't want his help. He wanted to do everything on his. In the process of trying to figure everything out, he met Mimi Pastori, a student at NYU, but from Croatia, who was working at a library for vintage books called Pale Fire through giving him the best recommendations and hooking up together. Most of the time they had a magical night together, but it was just that because Mimi had a boyfriend called Nick who was in a certain band and on tour at the moment. Although it was just a fling for Mimi, Thomas started developing real feelings for her during the time he had known her, but she just wanted them to be friends. One day he returned to his apartment in disappointment after Mimi gave him the bad news, and found a new old neighbor the same age as his father called W.F. Gerald, who offered to help him out with girl problems, like some say old as gold. Somehow Thomas went to him for his advice and the solution he gave him was simple. Just be patient with life and wait for an opportunity to make her not want to be without. Even though Thomas didn't know how and when this was to happen, one night when he and Mimi went out, he saw his father with another beautiful middle-aged woman who was not his mother. Somehow this started bothering him psychologically, just in case his mother, Judith Webb, found out, since she was already in a state of mental disorder due to his father neglecting her most of the time because of this. With the help of Mimi, he started stalking her until one day when he got the guts to confront. Surprisingly, she already knew who he was, and her reason was that his father had lots of his pictures on his office table. Her name was Johanna, so she asked him out to talk about the whole weird situation. And guess what? It seemed like she wanted the attention Thomas was giving her, despite his main objective of her leaving his father alone for his mother's sake. What Johanna did to make Thomas continue stalking her was to keep seeing his father, and it worked for her because she would use these moments to inject strong words into his head that would make him think about her even when he was not with her. Slowly but surely, he started thinking about her more than he did about Mimi, and when he told this to Gerald, who had now become his closest friend, despite their age gap, he told him that he cared less if he hurt Mimi's feelings since she just wanted them to be friends. A time came when Thomas's meetings with Johanna went from, "I want you to stop seeing my father," to "save my mother to see you at my apartment." He started a wild affair with her, caring less if he was going to hurt his father's feelings. Surprisingly, this was when Mimi broke up with her boyfriend and wanted to start a serious relationship with Thomas, and when he told her the truth, she said he was just like other men. Really, Mimi, you should have put yourself in Thomas's shoes before putting him on hold for that. Anyway, it was too late for Mimi to have Thomas, who was also battling with the fact that his father was going to divorce his mother for Johanna, the woman he thought he was in love with. So he went and told his father about their affair to sabotage them. That was when the truth came out that Ethan Webb was not his biological father, but the new old neighbor of his, and the only friend he had was his biological father, who always watched him from a distance as he grew up, based on the agreement he had with his. He found out that Gerald and Ethan were best friends 25 years ago, but Ethan was unable to have children, so he and Judith Webb decided to use someone close to them to have a child who happened to be Gerald. In the process, Judith and Gerald madly fell in love with each other, which was the reason she would always sneak up by the riverside to read his books without Ethan knowing, is the only thing to keep Gerald close to. To cut the long story short, Thomas had two fathers, the one who stayed to take care of him, and the one who took off and watched him grow from a distance, though it was his mother's idea for things to be that way. Gerald wrote a book called The Only Living Boy in New York, with Thomas as that only living boy, and a year later he reconciled with the father who he snatched his mistress, as the mother also reconciled with the love of her life. Thanks for watching and consider subscribing.
New York has lost its soul.
He's decided to hate where he's from.